Hey everybody, welcome to Brothers Thrice. We are three brothers who grew up in a close family, and we have a lot of and it's over. Okay, today we are doing a brackets, classic bracket style on classic board games. So, classic board games, we ranked them. We said
I'm Kevin because we obviously missed that.
Sorry, I'm here. I'm Will, and I'm here with my brothers.
No, I already did it.
Oh, okay, fine.
I'm the moment's passed. I'm Brian, I guess.
Whatever. So we're doing classic board games. Sorry, I got excited about the board games. We ranked them, and then here's the bracket, and let's just jump into it. Number 8 to number 9 seed is Pictionary versus Scrabble. Is this both of you guys, right?
Yep.
Yes. Now I want to start.
Pictionary.
I have Scrabble. Now I want to start with just like a disclaimer, so to speak.
Nerd,
on this episode.
nerd game, nerd.
No, he wants a disclaimer for the episode.
Not my board game choice. So because of the fact that we're doing classic board games, because I play a lot more board games than both of you. And there's some board games that are new or like just different that you guys have not played. So I'm not going to pick, like, there's a load of board games that are vastly better than the ones that I've chose. But since we've done classic board games, kind of had to, stick to the mainstream type board games, like board games like Wingspan and Everdell and all these like really cool new board games that you guys have never heard of or played. Really wouldn't make for good conversation. So for those listening out there, like, well, this board game's so much better. It's like, yeah, but we're trying to stick to the classic, everybody knows type board.
Trying to go right down the middle.
Yeah.
Main Street America. People don't know all the niche games, which are cool and fun. They're interesting, but
board games can be very, very niche. It's something that people, really get into and like. So would we consider Dungeons and Dragons a board game?
It can be, but I don't. It's not exclusively. It's not exclusively a board game, but it can involve a tabletop or a board. But I don't know.
But like,
I'd say more no. Nah.
It's more of a role playing,
like a party game, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say that Dungeons and Dragons is more of like because it's not a board game in that like board games typically have like a little booklet that say these are the rules, blah blah blah.
They do have a booklet. They have a
but I'm saying you can go in whatever direction you want because it's kind of just up to the DM and stuff like that,
Yeah,
so
it's a loose game.
Yeah, it's more loosey goosey then.
Yeah, see.
Well, I know. I'm saying like the whole overall outcome story. Like there's no winning, there's no losing. It's kind of just
there's winning,
playing.
There's losing.
I know. You know what I mean, though.
Yeah, I know.
So you want to start off, Kevin? Talk about your nerd game.
Sure. You've called it a nerd game because you're not intelligent enough to enjoy the game.
Oh, shit.
I don't know no words.
Exactly. So Scrabble is your one of your classic games of creating a word and building words off of each other. There's a lot of different games that have this idea and premise. Scrabble is my favorite of them. My least favorite game of this sort is Bananagrams. I hate that game.
I like Bananagrams more.
No, I hate Bananagrams. It's just not my forte. I also Upwards. I also hate Upwards. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, the ones they stack
on top of each other. I don't like those. Scrabble to me is the where those games started. So like Scrabble is the original, and then those games kind of came up of it, which is good. Playing these games is tough for me. One, I'm not great with words, but also two, I married an English major. One of my best friends was an English major. So like playing these games with my friends, it's like, all right, well, everyone's coming up with these crazy words, and I'm like pig and horse and just like, yeah. So it's tough for me, but I've gotten better over the years because of it. So I'm a pretty good Scrabble
enjoys
player.
The challenge.
I do. The last 2 or 3 times me and Crystal have played Scrabble, I've won by decent margins now. So
wow. Proud of you. Well, you got to know where to put. You got to know where to put those tiles. Like,
triple word.
Yeah,
that's a big deal.
There's some strategy to it as well. So I enjoy a good Scrabble board game.
1938 release. It's a lot older than I thought it was.
Yeah.
That's why it's a classic, baby. I mean, yeah, it is fun, but like I just kind of get mad at it
because you stink.
quickly. Yeah, no. I mean,
It's tough. I'm not the best, but I could do okay, but I just can't. My brain doesn't work that way with the words sometimes.
With the words,
I don't know. No words, no good.
Or don't. Yeah, it's a lot harder, I think, and it takes away the fun of it if you don't know how to read.
I mean, I guess so.
Like, it's not a very inclusive game in that I can't play this if I don't know how to read.
What board game can you play?
Well, I can't read.
You can.
His next
Sorry.
Brian's next choice actually can play without reading.
No, he can't. How are you supposed to know what the thing is?
It's true.
Well, you can't
show
read
your
the
team and
card.
be like, "Tell me what this is," and then I'll draw it. Then you have to guess it. That's not how it works.
All right,
you need to know how to read to play Pictionary.
You could guess, but you can't.
Yeah.
Do the drawing. So
you
yeah,
can
I
only
guess.
play half the game.
All right. Well, Brian can read. Disclaimer for everyone: Brian can read.
I know how to read. I know
some of these words.
I know some of these words.
I know some of these words.
So, Pictionary is, I think, very fun. The classic one. I think it's more fun to make up your own words and then play it like that. Like we've played like house rules. Like you ignore the cards and you kind of just like make your own and draw those ones. Are way more fun than like some of the Pictionary suggestions are a little dry and a little stale, a little boring, in that they're like a house or like something stupid like that, and you can go crazy on your own. I think it's even more fun to play with somebody who cannot draw. Like playing Pictionary with Dad is always a good time because he can't draw. So we're like, what is that? A werewolf? And it's like, no, it's a cinnamon roll or something.
Can't you see the stink lines? And
yeah, I had a picture on my phone I don't know if it's still there or not, but I took a picture. It was Dragonfly was the name, and he tried to draw a dragon, but it was like, no, it's a dragonfly, and it was just.
Dragons fly. I got it. They fly. They also breathe fire.
So I think that Pictionary is more. It's more of a haha kind of. This is a fun game. I feel like Scrabble's more of a relaxed, like, yes, quiet.
Sip your tea and play a word game.
Yeah, sip tea and play Scrabble in my study, or in my observatory.
What are we playing? Clue now?
Like a wall, yeah, a wall.
Clue is not on the list.
Shelves, yeah, a wall of bookshelves behind me with like a mahogany desk.
Yes, that's what I like.
Well, this is definitely an easy choice for my pick.
Yeah, well, I know where you're going, but let me just say for Pictionary, I think I enjoy the new iteration of not a rebuttal, but the new iteration of Pictionary, the Telestrations.
Yeah.
When we played Telestrations, the version that we had was the After Dark version, so like the adult version of Telestrations. When we played it with our family, like extended family, in Pennsylvania, and we had to explain to Grandma what a lot of these things were, and she had to like draw like balls deep or something, and I just had to explain to Grandma what balls deep meant, and our cousin Brian is like, it's when a man walks into the ocean and water goes up to a certain level. That's what it means. She's like, oh, okay.
It's like, oh, about how deep is the water? It's like, about balls deep.
Yeah, it's like she's like, oh, that makes sense, and we're all just like,
next word is bukkake.
Oh,
Grandma,
that's a Japanese painting.
It's a kind
style.
of sushi.
Yeah.
So that is also a lot of I think I almost saw our uncle die of laughter.
Yeah. Well, it's fun because like it's not just one person drawing at a time. It's everyone has a turn to draw, and it's all like rotating the words.
It's telephone with Pictionary,
really
so
fun.
It gets real messed up at the end. And our uncle Steve was the one who almost died laughing because he is a very good drawer, so he got it last, and so he drew what the word said, but it started
obviously
out
very wrong.
It was not what it was, but it started out as like Catholic schoolgirl was the word, and it ended out like he had to draw a busty nun is what it ended out being. So he drew in
Close.
great detail a nun, a very busty nun, and he's cracking up while he's doing it. He's like, why am I drawing this?
Grandma was probably like doing the sign of the cross 100 times.
Oh, it's so funny.
Doing her rosary.
No.
That's funny.
So, Will, I'm
So,
assuming
what
you're
do you
going
vote?
Yeah,
Pictionary.
I'm going for Pictionary. I was an art major in college. I love drawing, so like that was always the game where I was like, well, my turn to draw, my turn to shine. Like I would, be excited to be drawing. And I like drawing more than I like words. I haven't read a book in a very long time. I'm not proud of it. I'm just stating a fact. Yeah, so Pictionary for me.
All right, Pictionary moves on, then that's fair.
Also me.
Yeah, well, we knew that.
So sorry, Scrabble nerd.
I played some Scrabble here and there. I played, me and M played. I'm just not between that and Pictionary. I'm gonna draw all day.
All day.
All day. All right.
That's fair.
Next down the list is Uno, which is you, Brian, versus chess, which is you, Kevin. So I'd sit out for this one again. So very different games, Uno and chess. Take it away.
Yeah. Now, if we were gonna go again with this whole thing, board game. Uno is not a board game, but
we talked about it in the discussion whether or not it is or not, and we said it is.
It's not. There's no board.
Yeah, but it's close enough to a board game.
So if I said poker, would that have counted?
It's the vibe of the game. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah,
Would
the vibe.
charades have counted.
No.
But
I don't know.
What's the difference? Fine.
I
we
don't
make our
know.
own rules here. We
Put
make
it
our
out-
own rules here.
Put that aside.
It's a 2 to 3 democracy. Three like two out of 3 have to decide, and if that's the
majority
way it
rules. Will.
Thank you. I
You're
couldn't think of the
welcome.
word.
Okay. So chess is one of those games where it's like the classic of games in the sense of it's probably one of these games. It's probably the oldest game there is on our list here.
Let's find out.
Like the iteration of chess has to be
Yeah,
pre-1900.
I can't see it being older.
There's no way it's got to be mid.
The earliest form of the
Cavemen.
game that's now called chess can be dated back to India in the 6th century.
Yeah. So
Wow.
so we're talking about classic. That's
way
chess.
old.
And also when
way
it's like
old.
when you had, because like the way it is, it's like there's kings and queens. So it's like that stuff has obviously been around for a
And
while.
I think too, like chess is one of those games where I've always liked it, but I always wanted to be better at it. Like
You got to play a lot to
me-
and like know shit to like
you have to
be good at it.
understand different tactics and everything, and
the Queen's Gambit.
all
show
the
on
different
Netflix.
plays, all the different strategies of how to beat people and stuff.
Yeah, like
instead of just being,
opening moves and things. Yeah.
right. And I feel like it's just a cool, whenever you see somebody really want to show somebody who's very intelligent in a TV show or a movie, they're good at chess. It's just one of those
Yeah.
things that's I aspire to be good at chess, but I know I won't put in the effort to be good at chess. And one of my friend Colton, who is a very smart individual, he's like, you want to get into chess with me? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, I bought a couple books and I've been reading up on strategies of chess. Do you want to play with me? I'm like, no, I don't, because I know you're just gonna absolutely.
Hey, do you want even my chess punching bag?
Yeah, basically. I was like, I know I'm not gonna put in the effort that
Because I'll just destroy you every time,
Yeah.
but I'll learn while I do it.
But I want to in a perfect world, and I do what I would like I set my mind to do. I would love to be good at chess because that's a cool
That's
be
cool.
good at chess would be a cool thing. But
I like playing chess. I taught Emma how to play over the pandemic. We haven't played since, but I always enjoyed. Me and Dad used to play all the time, and I thought
definitely a good
I'm not
strategy game.
good. I'm not I'm decent. I know how all
you
the
know
pieces
the
move.
rules.
I know the rules,
it.
and I know, but I don't
Yeah,
know
that's
the
all I got.
fancy stuff. The fancy
No.
stuff I don't know, but
Yeah.
I enjoy a good you do feel well, it's that thinking moves ahead is very interesting and way to you have to play and
to
it's very
think
cool.
what they're gonna do, what you gonna do to then counter what they're gonna do. It's a whole
Check.
hence why they say it's a it's a chess match. It's as like a metaphor.
It is like ingrained into culture at this point.
It is.
It's more than a board game. It's a
Like,
lifestyle.
when people are, I think of the X-Men 3 movie when they're about to like go and fight at the last fight scene, and Magneto stops like the main characters. Like, no, the pawns go first.
Oh
like,
shit!
It's just like a chess reference. You can have chess references.
Didn't they even play? They even played chess. I think in like one of the movies they played with glass pieces while Magneto was in prison. Charles and
and then at the end, after
because they're both smart guys,
his power is taken away.
Oh
he,
yeah,
like, moves the chess piece.
Or does he? It's like it cuts like as it wiggles maybe a little bit. It's very
yeah, but that whole universe is gone now because they just destroyed everything. So
well, they'll hopefully be rebooting X-Men soon.
Yeah, well, I know rumors right now are the Giancarlo Esposito, I think his name is, the guy who plays Moff Gideon.
You mean Gus Fring? Yeah,
sure.
He's Breaking Bad.
Rumored to be Magneto or Charles Xavier. Not sure yet. But
that'd be cool.
I'm down for him to play anything.
I can't see him being. He's always been a bad guy. No matter what he's in, he is a villain, and he's a very good villain.
He's so good at it.
But also, I'm sure while he wants to play
good guy,
not a villain. Well, is he down to shave his head? Because you can't. If I swear to God, if Charles Xavier has hair, I'm not seeing these movies. He has to be bald.
Gotta be bald.
All good if he's not a white guy. That's fine with me, obviously. But if he needs to be bald, that's
part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. A bunch of people will be up in arms, like, "You're changing the comic books. Charles Xavier is in black." A bunch of people are gonna have a problem with that, but Will's gonna be like, "He has hair."
No, he could. I'm cool with making making these. They're comic book characters. They're not. They're supposed to be interchangeable, and you do what you want.
We had an iteration of it already, so you might as well.
Yeah.
If this is a different universe, it could be somebody.
It's true.
Else. Like,
well, they show
Spider-Man.
Did you guys see? You guys saw Doctor Strange?
Yeah, that trash movie. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm saying. In that's the Charles Xavier comes back, but that's Charles Xavier from like the X-Men, but not like the X-Men movie we saw in the movies. X-Men, like the TV show, like the animated TV show.
Right,
because of the yellow wheelchair thing.
And the theme song played too.
I'm rewatching it on Disney Plus.
It's on there? I didn't know if it was put on.
It's on Disney Plus, and then they're rebooting it, or continuing it. It's going to be like X-Men 97 or something. It's called.
Cool.
So it's like it's funny watching old stuff. It's like a kid's show, so it's not like very deep, but it's also weirdly like just I don't know. It's fun.
It's fun.
So anyway, we have board games.
Sorry, chess. And then now we know what chess is about, Bri. Tell us about Uno.
So Uno translates to the number 1 in Espanol.
And
and
Italian.
Yeah, and that correlates to how many cards left are in your hand. This one is a very easy, kind of like a chill game, just so it's the power went out and you're playing this,
Did you say that about any of these?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, this is like an easy, don't worry about it.
We don't have power. We can't play chess.
It's an easy,
my plug-in chessboard.
The only thing you have to worry about is colors and numbers. That's all you got to do.
It's a very low barrier to entry. Like, it's not it's very it's easy to explain.
Low stakes.
You know what? At the end of Harry Potter 1, they don't play Uno to get past this, to get to the end. So
once I move by, you're free to check the kin.
Red 3 onto blue 3. Uno.
I don't think that's how you play chess.
No, he was saying Uno.
I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
Skip you, Bryce. Skip you.
Yeah.
I ruined it. Reverse. Back to me.
Draw 4 wild. Draw 4 wild.
Draw 4. Oh yeah, well suck it. I have another draw 4.
Can't do that. 8. You can't do that. That's not in the rules. Uno said you can't do that.
Well, that's not the rule?
Yeah, you can't put wild draw 4 on top of a wild.
You draw 2s though. Draw 2s you could do. Or no?
I think. I
put a
think
draw
that's
two
a
on top
house
of a draw
rule.
two.
I've
Draw
played
two.
where you do that. You could do the wild draw full on top of a wild draw full because it's just like it's just fun as hell.
Yeah,
Except if
but
you're
you
being
can't.
the one
It
picking
just doesn't
cards
make
up.
sense because the person has to denote what color. So if the next person puts on it, do they just then denote their own next color?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just would negate it's their new
Negates that
wild.
person's wild.
Yeah,
So.
that's fine.
I think that you can't do that.
Well,
You can
play
put a
with
draw
you.
two on top of a draw two, right?
I mean, I like that rule because it's not as intense as the draw four, and there's no wild attached to it. But Brian, when we get to our number one board game on this list, I have to tell you about when Will and Emily came over.
No,
we played the
don't
board
make
game.
fun of us.
Oh my god,
Don't
they're
make
just
fun
making
of
up. They're
us.
just making up rules. They're just like, oh, we do this, and we're like,
Well,
why?
you can play your own way in your own house. We played the correct way when we were at your house.
Yes, we did. But
Yeah,
I'm just
that's
saying,
what I'm
like, why
saying.
do you do
But
that?
when I'm home, but I'm in my own place and I'm doing my own thing and everyone agrees to the rules, we can do whatever we want.
I guess so, but then you go into other people's homes and be like, "This is how we do it." It's like, no.
Well, but then we said, "Oh, okay," and then we played it
we'll
your way.
explain
We didn't,
more
if
when
we
we get to the point.
if we refused to play your way or the correct way,
yeah,
then we'd be dicks.
Just the way the game.
No, I said like the game, like right.
Played.
If we played then the correct rules, or we said no to that, then we'd be dicks. But that's not how we did it. So that's
Well, it took a little while for M to get used to the real rules, but
all right, we'll get to that. So Uno versus chess. You guys stick with your answers.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I was thinking for so long. I enjoy both of these games. Uno's classic and fun. Chess is even more classic, technically. And need to think more, obviously. I think I'm gonna go with chess just because I like that strategy of the game. There's strategy to Uno too, but obviously a lot more in chess. And I also, I pride myself on knowing, decently how to play. Not great, but I know how to play. And I was, a lot of people don't know how to play chess anymore. I'm sure it's like kind of a lost art. I'm sure. Ask these Gen Zers, TikTokers, they're like, oh, how does the knight move? Who? The horsey?
Come on, we also call it the horsey. So
no, it's a knight, and the castle is a rook.
But there's no knight on it. It's just a horse.
Well, the horse is called a knight.
You can't keep making fun of Gen Z and TikTok, Will, because you're on TikTok.
Yeah.
Hashtag Will's doing it. So
it's true, but I can.
Okay,
because I'm over a 30 year-old. See, I can't talk. I'm over 30 years old, so I can.
So
I'm an old,
that makes it worse.
Crotchety man. I can talk to the young people. All right, next up,
Get off my lawn.
Number 2 versus number 7. Number 2 is Monopoly, which is Kev,
me,
versus me, which is number 7, Stratego. I'll start, I guess, because you've been chatting a lot with your 2 choices before. Stratego is more of a nostalgia pick for me, honestly. I have very lovely core memory with me and my father, our father, who aren't in heaven.
He's still alive.
How will be our name?
Yeah, no.
Our kingdom somewhere will be done. God is earth as it is in heaven.
You're still alive. We know you're still alive.
Give us this day our daily bread. No, okay. Our pops. I used to play Stratego with him. If you don't know what Stratego is, it's a board game where it's like a bunch of square, like it's a grid on a board, and there's little tile stand-up guys, and they're facing. You can't see what the other people have, how they have it set up, and there's special players, and there's like a guy who can diffuse bombs. And then some of the tiles are bombs, but you can't see. Obviously, it's kind of like Minesweeper, but on a board game, but not. It's hard. And there's a guy who's a spy who can like kind of sneak through and like. I can't remember all the rules. I haven't played in a long time, but I remember just having a lot of fun with Dad and playing those things. And then putting bombs certain places, and the spy was wearing a top hat, and he was cool. Just any Stratego heads out there, you know what I'm talking about. Just a fun game. Always enjoyed it. And then having a memory with playing a game with your daddy is nice.
With your daddy.
Yeah, what's happening over there, Kev?
I was making like a tower with my dice while you were.
You're not listening intently.
No,
with your eyes.
I thought you were rolling like for something.
I'm gonna roll for initiative. I rolled that one. All right.
Oh, see, I win. I'll roll. Wait, I'll roll one too. 4. Shitty roll, but I beat a 1. All right. Go ahead.
But I'm a rogue, so I have a +4 to my initiative, so I win.
I have a +100 because I'm the best.
You bastard. All right, Monopoly. I feel like, I mean, obviously chess, as we've confirmed, is the most classic of classic games, considering it's from the 6th century. But Monopoly, I think,
up there,
is the most classic of classic games. Whereas, like, everybody knows what Monopoly is. It's in pop culture almost as much as chess is.
Em still hasn't played. She said she's never played Monopoly.
Which honestly, though, I think that's for the best.
For her, yes.
Knowing
she would burn the house down.
I think you guys, it might be like if you get a hotel on something and she lands on it and gets bankrupt and has to sell all her stuff. I think that'd be ground for divorce. I don't know. Like,
yeah,
you got to pay up.
She'd be like, this is stupid.
Flipping tables.
Yeah.
But I feel like one of the main memories that I have with Monopoly is Will being the banker and cheating every time the 3 of us would play Monopoly and stealing $500 bills all the time.
In my defense, I was a young, selfish little boy, and I remember doing it. And
okay,
how do I say it? Now I regret it, obviously, but. And I think I've definitely grown as a person. I'm not as selfish anymore. I used to have a lot of trouble with like sharing things where I'm like, this is mine. I don't want either of you to play with it, kind of thing.
This is my brown shirt. Only I can wear this brown
shirt. No, but like,
well, I mean,
like I just always remember having trouble with like letting you guys use stuff that was considered mine, even though it's all of ours, kind of thing.
No, it's the classic
just
older sibling, you know?
Yeah. Well, look who's talking. The youngest, the worst of the worst.
That's what I'm saying. It's a cookie cutter, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the original.
I regret it. I regret stealing the hundreds and being the banker. I wouldn't do it now. I'm an honest person now, and I wouldn't do that. But in my younger days, I was not a scoundrel. I was a scoundrel. I was a little whippersnapper.
Growth.
Will's a crook.
I read somewhere that like the original like developers of the game, it originated publication in 1935. I read somewhere that the original intention of Monopoly was to kind of build an homage to like the capitalism system.
Yeah, it was made to show the horrors of monopolies.
Yeah,
but then it just became a fun board game, and everyone's like, "Yeah,
and then
Monopoly!"
and Hasbro's made millions and millions of dollars on
of every iteration,
making a monopoly of the Monopoly game.
Yeah, because
there's no one else can sell Monopoly.
In the Walmart near here, there's they have like the town version of Monopoly, and it's like the town that I live in, and it's just like who's buying this?
Why people who live in the town want to buy it? They print, because they think about it. Hasbro's printed every single kind of Monopoly there is over the years. They have probably every popular TV show, every popular movie has its own Monopoly game. Like you said, every
NFL,
any possible town. I'm sure there's like, like
I feel like they have to have it.
Print.
But like a New York City Monopoly would be probably pretty cool.
There's not a thought in my mind that does not exist. That has to
be that would be a cool one. Like all right, if there's a New York City Monopoly, Boardwalk,
One World Trade or something. I don't know.
No, I feel like it's got to be Broadway, Times Square.
Oh yeah, we're doing streets and stuff. Yeah, something like that.
Times Square,
Lexington.
59th and Lexington.
Brian's just Bloomberg. Bloomberg is definitely the purples in the beginning.
Fifth Avenue.
Oh, rude.
You can win the game with those. I'm gonna say New York City.
I'm sure
Monopoly for everything. We had like 6. Like I remember we had Star Wars.
I don't know why we
NFL
would.
Monopoly,
it's the same
NHL
game.
Monopoly.
Like they're played
'cause I think
exactly
we-
the same. It's just funny.
I remember getting them as like gifts over the
Yeah.
years. Like, oh, I got this Star Wars Monopoly set, or we got this NHL Monopoly
One of
set.
the best ones is the Pokemon one.
Oh, that was good. I did like Pokemon.
I don't remember that one.
Oh yeah, the Pokemon one was great.
Yeah.
What was Boardwalk for that one? Like Zapdos or something?
Charizard? Probably. I don't know.
I don't remember. I remember there being like a Venomoth was up like one of its more expensive ones. Like why?
That doesn't make any sense.
Any New York City one, Kev?
There is. You can get it on Amazon for $29. Trying to
Think about it. Hasbro selling every single kind of Monopoly and selling for like $30 each.
Let's see if I can zoom up on this.
Psh,
Let's see what that
crazy.
is. All right,
And
so
they probably have like Cheers Monopoly from
Oh,
the
they have
80s.
everything.
I can't read it because it's blurry, but I think it's either Statue of Liberty or Ellis. No, it's Ellis Island is Boardwalk.
Interesting.
That's interesting. And then the second one is Central Park for the blue.
See, I think sometimes it doesn't. They're not like trying because like when you.
Oh, that's offensive. The most inexpensive two is Little Italy and Chinatown.
What?
I
Little
see.
Italy
I
is
think
the least expensive one you can get.
See, I think it's not about worst to best because like in the original Monopoly, it's just streets and places names. Like it's no like this is nice versus that's nice. It's just kind of like where they land. I don't think they ever because even when they did like hockey one, it's not like the teams weren't ranked. They were just kind of they just put them on there.
I think it was when the board game came out. I think the Red Wings were the most expensive one because they just won the World Series, Jesus, the Stanley Cup that year.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't think they put so much thought into it. I think it's just kind of like they just throw them down there.
No, they definitely have to put thought into it.
According to the internet, it says there have been approximately 275 million Monopoly games sold since they first started production of the game. If each game cost an average of $5 over the time that they have been selling, that means that Monopoly has grossed $1.3 billion in sales.
It's probably even more than that because definitely costs more than $5 now.
Well, I mean,
I'm saying
the New York one was
it's the average. It's the average one. Like right now, you can buy a Monopoly game for $30, but when they first started coming out in 1937,
yeah,
it was not.
So, but I'm saying, but that $1 billion number is even bigger now, obviously.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying since it's.
So Monopoly is
inception.
$1 billion. Monopoly is $1 billion monopoly empire.
Yeah, basically.
Ironic.
Everything.
But it's still a classic game.
I think of Monopoly. I think of the movie Over the Hedge, when it's like, I want to be the car. No, I'm always the car. Why don't you be that fancy looking iron over there?
A very underrated movie. That movie's so funny.
What were you guys always in Monopoly? Because I always pick the same thing.
I always pick the dog.
I was gonna say I was always the top hat or the little schnauzer.
I was always the shoe. Don't know why. I loved that shoe. Something about there's little things like that. Like I'll just like be drawn to. Like I'm like, ooh, it's a little pointy shoe. I was always the shoe, no matter what.
Fancy looking iron.
Well, what's the arguably the worst one is the thimble.
Yeah.
Thimble sucks. If you want to be the thimble, you suck.
Well, but that's classic. But now they have all these other iterations of Monopoly. You get like little cool pieces. What were the ones in the Pokemon? Were they Pokemon or were they like trainers?
Google it.
I don't remember even owning that.
Oh, we owned it, baby.
I don't know if we owned it or I know playing it at Tyler's. Tyler used to have it.
I've played it, so I don't think I didn't hang with you guys as much.
So
I mean, I remember the NHL one the most.
You can get Pokemon Monopoly on Amazon for $244.
Damn.
Well, it's probably discontinued now or whatever.
Yeah. So it's the original 150 Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
Monopoly. The pieces are Charmander.
Oh, the starters.
Bulbasaur, no, Charmander, Bulbasaur, Blastoise, Pikachu, Mewtwo, and Clefairy.
But they would not do Squirtle?
I guess not.
That's weird.
That's kind of odd. Did you know that the first Pokemon ever created was Rhydon?
Yes, I did know that actually.
They were.
I've heard that fact,
were,
but if you asked me, I wasn't sure, but I have heard that fact before.
And also, they were contemplating making. You know how Pikachu is like the face of Pokemon. They were contemplating it being Clefairy for a while, but then they made the choice to switch to Pikachu.
Pretty good choice.
All right, what are we voting for this one, huh?
I'm sticking with Monopoly because it is classic.
I'm also voting for Monopoly because it can cause some drama, but it's also fun.
I'll do Monopoly too. I can't because Stratego is more of a niche thing for me, opposed to obviously very classic Monopoly. Even though I haven't played in a very long time, because it's also like we didn't talk about the length of the game. Usually Monopoly takes a good amount of time to play.
Yeah.
So that's always
or until somebody just gets too frustrated.
Yeah, it's like, let's do this game.
Sounds about right. So Monopoly moves forward.
Next up, Risk versus Trivial Pursuit. So Brian, your Risk, Will, Trivial Pursuit.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Will, would you like to start it up with trivia?
Sure. Trivial Pursuit is the pursuit of trivia.
Oh.
I just really enjoy these kind of games. I like trivia. I feel like I'm pretty decent-ish at it, especially I like all the different categories and the thing. You got to get a little pizza, little pie pieces to fill your.
I always thought those were wedges of cheese.
They can also be wedges of cheese, whatever you're feeling. I just always enjoyed those kind of games. And it's like, there's skill in certain games and there's strategy in certain games, but this one's really just like, hey, can you land on the right spots and get the question right? Like, I like that kind of game. So I just really like the categories are nice. Like everything's varied enough where it's not just one subject. So, and they also like Monopoly, they have printed a lot of Trivial Pursuits of different subjects. So they have like a Star Wars one. They'll have maybe they do like decades, which is fun too.
They have a Disney one that we've played.
Disney one. They have a lot. Yeah. So obviously like that can kind of go in any avenue, which is fun too. And you can kind of buy whatever pack you're feeling. So I enjoy the Trivial Pursuit.
I saw I was at an antique store last weekend and I saw a box of Trivial Pursuit that looked like it was from like the 70s or something like that. And I didn't open it because it was on like the bottom of a stack, but I was curious just like what kind of questions would be inside those,
they'd be
like how old
little racist.
Probably, but then also
outdated they are,
like what is the first country in the Soviet Union or something like.
Yeah. Something like that, because it's so different. Like the geography questions like that would be just not even close to what they would be now.
Also too, like the pop culture questions would be like what was Judy Garland's second movie? It's like who knows? Like
the still alive the still alive Judy Garland.
Exactly. But it's still a fun game. I chose Risk because that game is intense, yet like there's strategy, but it's also a little bit of a chance because you just have to roll the dice. Like, it's not necessarily who is the best conqueror. It all depends on your roll of the dice, quite literally, because if I'm attacking you, Kev, and I roll a worse number than you, then I do not progress. My manifest destiny is squashed by you and your roll of the dice. So, but I mean, it's always a fun time when you have, I took over the entirety of Europe and you're just on a little tiny little piece of like
Madagascar,
the West Indies or something. Yeah. I am from Ukraine. So that's a fun game. Just to kind of for world domination. I'm a fan, and I don't think we ever played it like as kids in a legit way.
No,
like
as kids we never did. No,
because like with dice, we kind of just like picked wherever we wanted to go, and then we rolled.
Yeah, but we also like I think we were just too like we don't feel like reading the instructions. But I know we
were such rebels.
Yeah, I think it was just we just didn't feel like trying hard. We were just like, we'll make up our own rules. But I got Game of Thrones Risk a couple of years ago, and once I got Game of Thrones Risk, I think I played it like I don't know, like Mike would come over, we would like play a game and then like take a picture of it and then like set the board back up, like because it would take too long. But you had like you had 2 boards, you could put them together if you had more like 7 people. It got intense.
Yeah, I mean that was always it was a longer one too, not like Monopoly length, but
No,
it did take
could
a little
be
bit.
the same, or if not longer than Monopoly for sure.
You think so?
Yeah. If you haven't if it's not just one against if you have like 5 people, Risk could take forever.
Well, yeah, if it's only like 2 or 3, then not so much, but that's true. That's a good point. I don't think I've ever played Risk with more than 3 people.
Think of it, if you have 4 to 5 people playing Risk, right? Usually it'll come down to 3 people getting most of the area, and then those other 2 people just like kind of get killed off. But then the other 2 to 3 people then just become so massive that they'll just like slowly chip away at each other, going back and forth depending on their dice rolls. But like they'll have like half the board each, and it's just
they'll take down the little guy first for sure.
It's like
just like in real life.
But I think I'm going to vote Risk on this one. Because my view of Trivial Pursuit is it was always like the Trivial Pursuit we had was like that gold tin that was like a circle, like it looked like a film canister, and it was up at the top of Dad's closet, and then you take it out and go like and like blow off the dust on it, and it like the questions were from like 1985, so it's like always like I don't know
1985.
Yeah, so it was just never as fun, but like Risk was,
Risk is timeless.
More my speed with Risk.
Yeah, I'm also voting for Risk, so it does move forward. But what are you voting for, Will?
I would stay with what'd I say?
Trivial Pursuit.
Trivial Pursuit. I like that kind of game much more. I've only played Risk like a couple times, and also probably never the correct way. So,
well, we gotta get you play it the correct way.
Yeah,
there's an online version of Risk that like moves way faster that I play with my friends sometimes, and that's always a good time. So perhaps I'll play that with you.
There you go. All right, so now we go back up to the top, and it's Will, you're number 1 against my chess.
All right. Well, let's take a quick break first, though.
Yes.
Let's take a break before our top of our list. So let's go take a break. We are right back.
Brothers Thrice.
And we are back. Time to go to the top of the bracket here. So we have my number 1 and the number 1, Catan, versus number 9, who squeaked through, Pictionary.
Settlers of.
No, they rebranded. It's just Catan now. It's not Settlers of Catan anymore.
Is it really? Why?
Yep. I don't know.
People just they knew, but people just called it Catan. So let's just call it Catan.
I know. Some people call it my brother-in-law calls it Settlers.
Interesting.
So it's just like, I guess you just depend on which part of the original title you wanted to use, the beginning or the end. But
I'm gonna call it Of.
You want to play Of? I love that game.
Yeah. So yeah,
what
Catan,
would you like to say about Catan? Or I'm sorry, Of.
It's probably one of the more newer popular games. I think it's been around for a while, but it got into like the mainstream more recently. Fun game. Really, I always have a good time. It doesn't take too long, so it's nice to kind of like bust it out. And it's not like, all right, we're gonna be here in a couple hours. This is a long one. It's just fun. You collect your resources. You be in the right spot. You build have the longest road is a big deal.
Well, for some people,
yeah. And just it's a good time.
It's a good time.
1995.
It's been out for a bit, but I think it didn't get huge until more recently.
Yeah, this is the board game I was alluding to earlier. Will and Emily came over, and we were like, "Oh, let's play Catan, or Of, if you would." And they're like, "Oh, let's set up." And they're like, "Oh, why are you doing that?" We're like, "What do you mean? Why are we doing this? This like the way we set up the board. Like, why are you doing that?" I was like, "Well, that's how you set the board up." "No, it's not. You're not supposed to know what the board looks like." It's like, "What? How are you supposed to?" And we're going back and forth, and I look at the instructions. This is how you do it. And they're like, "That's not how we play." And like we did like 3 or 4 different things. Like, "Oh, that's not how we play." Like, where are you coming up with these rules? So just making rules up.
Yeah, I came up with it.
But I think the funniest thing was apparently they would have Emily's brother would be the banker. And every time somebody got or put resources away, they would just give it to Doug, and he would put it away and get them for it. So
he didn't want to play, so but he wanted to like hang out with us. So we just said, okay, you just collect and do resources.
But Emily was so used to that like when we were like, okay, she like, okay, and she like have her hand out whenever like we'd roll a dice to me, and I'm like, what would
Can I help you?
She's like, I get wood. I was like, so that's right here. Just pick it up. I'm like, why am I picking it up for you? She's like, oh, I'm used to the banker. And then she was like, I'm gonna build a road, and she would like hand me the wood and the brick. I'm like, I'm not. This isn't. You put it down.
We like having a banker.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not doing this for you. You do it. But it was funny.
Well,
I played Catan with my friends that they never played, and every time I played it with one of you guys. So I've never set up the board myself, and they'd never played before. So I was like, I think this is how you set it up. I kind of just like figured it out. And I did not do it.
They wouldn't know if you were wrong because they haven't played.
Yeah,
true. But I did not. I don't think I did a great job explaining the rules either, because I kind of just built off of what you guys told me, so I didn't have a strong grasp on it myself.
You had the board game, therefore you had the rules.
Yes.
You know
we referenced the rules a couple times, but like just giving the synopsis, I was like, wait, how do you play this game again?
Goodness.
If I'm playing it, I know how to do it, and there's no time for that.
All right.
I'd rather struggle.
And it's going against Pictionary, so I know I'm leading Catan. So
I'm also going with Catan.
All right, Catan.
Yeah, that's easy.
It's more fun than Pictionary.
Yeah,
even though like drawing can be fun.
Leads the way, so that moves on. Then we move down to the bottom. I don't know my phone on me. What's next? Chess against
it's Monopoly versus Risk.
This
is
Monopoly versus Risk.
Here. Oh, okay. Monopoly versus Risk. Ooh.
I know it's Monopoly versus Risk. Yes. Sorry.
That's.
This one's a toughie.
That's a tough one. They're both kind of in the same, I think, realm of like classicness. So honestly, I think I have to go Risk.
I'm going with Monopoly. I don't really know Risk very well, and Monopoly is very classic.
I'm the tiebreaker. This is hard because they're both games that get intense. They are both ones that can take a decent amount of time.
They both have boards.
They both have boards, and yeah, very true.
Unlike Uno.
I'm gonna go with Monopoly because I think there's more of like the whimsical aspect to it sometimes when like you pick up a community chest card and you're like, oh, this happened to me, cool, you know.
Okay.
Or you can go to jail. Don't pass go. Don't collect $200.
Right.
I think it's definitely more in the as far as pop culture is concerned. It's in everyone's face. Pop culture.
I gotcha.
It's more popular, I think. So I'm gonna go with Monops.
All right, and back up to the top. This one's gonna be an easy one. This is Catan versus chess. So,
is it?
I mean, I would say more. If we're gonna go just by what's more classic of a board game, it'd be chess. But what's more fun is Catan. So I'm gonna go with Catan.
Yeah, I'd go with Catan also because like if you're playing chess and you're not really big on the strategy or what have you, then you're kind of just moving the pieces and hoping for the best.
Yeah,
which is how I play.
But also too, Catan you can have 4 people play, and also the expansion you can have 6 people play, whereas chess is just 1-on-1 and that's it.
True.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Click, 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 click. That's the timer.
Oh, okay. I was like, what are you timer for what? Okay. All right. So it's Catan versus Monopoly for the win.
1 versus 2, yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's understandable then for March Madness going on over here.
This is very much not like me to not go with my pick, but I'm gonna go with Catan because I do enjoy that much more than Monopoly.
I'm going with Monopoly on this one just because I think it has a lot of aspects that are just kind of like quintessential board game. And you don't know once you get deep into the game, you never know what's going to happen when you roll that dice, because things are bought up. One space is free on the entire strip.
Yeah, there's that level of anxiety when you're coming around the bend and you're like, I can only land on one spot and I need a 6, and if I don't get a 6, I lose. So that's like kind of like it definitely has a high stakes kind of feel to it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I can land on the community chest, or I go bankrupt. That's it.
Or I go to jail. Which
yeah, sometimes it's cheaper to go to jail, kind of like real life.
Oh snap!
Damn.
All right, Will, you're the tiebreaker.
I'm also gonna go with Catan because I think
it's
I would more enjoy it than Monopoly. I haven't played Monopoly in a very long time. I played Catan several times in that span. It's just more fun. I think it's just more. I don't know. Monopoly is still fun though. I don't know. Just Catan just hits the spot right now.
Yeah, it's more lax, I think.
Yeah.
Competition wise, because you can lose friendships with Monopoly.
Yeah, Monopoly is more cutthroat. There's trading in Catan, but it's not as like, you can make some really weird deals. Like, all right, I land on your spot now. I don't pay you now, but I could you're just like, I'll give you this instead of that, and then it just gets weird.
Bribery.
Yeah.
All right. Catan
according
is the
to
winner.
Brothers Thrice, Catan is the best one out of all
Classic
these ones.
Board game. Go out if you never played Catan. There's a bunch of different iterations of it. You can get Cities and Knights. There's an Inca version. There's a Pirates. There's a Sailors and Trade. There's so many different options. There's a Game of Thrones one. Now talking about expensive.
You don't
board
have
games,
the
though,
Game of
no,
Thrones.
The Game of Thrones Catan is $95.
Jesus.
Yeah. So the Catan board games are not cheap.
Catan is making bank,
but they are good. So I have the Inca version and I have the original. My brother-in-law has the Cities and Knights version, which is a lot more stuff going on. Like there's barbarians that come and you have to raid, so you have to build a knights, like an army, to then defend against it. You can lose cities. It's very cool. So there's a lot of different iterations of it, which is pretty sweet. So go out there and play some Catan because it is quite fun.
You can get yours at your local Target.
Target.
This episode's brought to you by Target.
No,
Target.
Target.
Do they have a slogan?
I don't think so.
That'd be a good one. We should call the marketing team. That's a pretty good one, Will.
What?
Target hit the spot.
Yeah. They had to have thought of that.
I'm sure they did.
There's no way they didn't.
Do they not have, like, Walmart has like save money, live better Walmart? Does Target have one?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
All right, leave it
irrelevant.
What's
irrelevant?
Target? All right, everybody.
Target is expect more, pay less. Target.
That's bad.
That's lame.
Right. That's very lame. All right. Thank you.
Catan wins. Brothers Thrice. Peace out, everybody. Bye.
Board games.
Brothers